1,000 kills? That's affirmative, okay, because I saw two things going, so that's pretty cool. We made history Saturday night, having a gold medalist in the house. That was pretty awesome to have Justine back, and it was historic. It's never happened before, and for Nebraska Volleyball, so another great moment for Nebraska Volleyball history. Weekend went well for us. We got down and had to fight back, which is great for our team to know they can do that. And this week we got a lot of things to work on and get better and still try to figure out the best lineup, and three great teams to play this weekend. So it'll be a little more challenging playing two matches Friday and then another big one Saturday night. So that's all I got.
You said you're with Ani, and you said your hitting percentage was really high on Saturday. Why do you think your hitting percentage was so high once Ani came in?
She just studied us out. Put every set was on the money. She took a couple risky sets, which typically when a setter comes in, they're just going to set the easy ball. She set two great, I call high-level sets, so we got nice kills on, which helped keep K-State balanced, and she just executed.
She set the back row a couple times too, right?
I think one time, yeah.
How is Nicklin progressing right now?
Good. She's going to be in practice today, so we'll see. It's amazing when you see setters come in, how fast they heal up.
What's your plan for her this week? Just to ease her in or just go?
No, we're going full practice today if she can make it through. So we got to start pushing her today to see if she can play this weekend. I think she's chomping at the bit.
You talked about the freshmen that hit kind of a wall at some point during the weekend. It seemed like Lexi Rodriguez didn't, though. She was pretty stable and pretty steady all weekend. What did you see from her defensively?
Yeah, we're trying to, first of all, she's served great, passed great, dug great, set great. So she played really high-level, consistent volleyball. We're trying to figure out on defense. We're very disciplined on defense. We're trying to decide now if we kind of turn her loose a little bit and let her read, because she's so good at reading. But yeah, she played at a very high level for the whole match.
What did she do in practice that kind of earned that libero jersey out of the gate?
She's the best passer in her gym by far every day. And I told him best passer is going to play, and it's not even close.
You talked about, after Kansas State, talked about how Ani in that fourth set, came in and helped inspire the team to come back and win that. So going into this week, are you looking for other players like Ani to go in and probably be a spark plug for you guys if things start to look?
With three matches, they're going to get opportunities to do that. Again, our goals, we want to play everybody, and especially in these first two weekends. So yeah, there'll be opportunities for other players who haven't played. We hopefully get Ali back, and see what these guys can do. And it's great for them to be able to know that they can do that, especially for Ani to come in and do that. That gives everybody else a lot of hope. But we know. I told you we got a lot of players that can play, and we're not afraid to play them. And Ani proved it.
We saw she set like one of that one beat to Kayla Caffey, and then she was hitting some reds. With the talent level you have, what kind of diversity does that allow you to do on offense and really open things up as far as creativity?
It definitely helps open things up, and we could have taken advantage of that even more, and we will when our setters get more comfortable. So, because, and I like your terminology there, we're probably going to have to do a volleyball one-on-one to explain all that to everybody else, but like Tom Chattel probably has no clue what you're talking about. He's thinking red zone, offense, whatever. So anyway, it definitely gives us some big options, and it's more of an international volleyball style. That's how USA plays. They've got Jordan Thompson coming out of the back row at different spots, and it just helps the blockers from loading up on your hitters when your setter's front row.
Is that something that you kind of learned, or is that an influence of what Tyler's bringing?
No, we've we won a national championship with Sarah Pavin doing the same thing. You got to have a player that can, terminate the ball to make it worth it, and also play defense. And Lindsay Krause's doing a nice job with that, and pass sometimes. So she's doing a pretty good job with that. But it just gives us more firepower, and it's the way the big girls play. We could also do it in a 6-2 by getting both Whitney and Lindsay in, but of course they come out of the back row, which gives you more firepower. The problem I'm struggling with is in a 6-2, it's hard to get Kenzie Knuckles and Akana into the match. So, because you're going to run out of subs. So there's our dilemma. That's what I wake up in the middle of the night right now thinking about.
John, what's the next step you want to see your team take this upcoming week?
I really like everything that we're doing, and now it's just get consistency, continue to serve tougher. I'd like to see our serving go up a notch this week. We were good serving, but not great. Otherwise, I really like everything that we're doing. We had a couple fundamental breakdowns in our defense, which, again, revolved around freshmen. So we've got to clean some of that stuff up, which we work on, and it's just, when a live situation, sometimes they don't recognize it quite right away. And so clean some of that stuff up. And this week we'll have a chance to prepare a little bit better because we got all week to prepare for these teams. And so I think that'll help our freshmen. Okay, good?
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Found some newfound youth.
Give a minute to let everybody get settled, and then we can take questions. Yeah, you can take it off.
I was gonna say yes, but I don't know. I was like, I should
It's
probably.
really your choice. You can take it off if you want.
Be careful around this month.
Whenever you guys are ready, fire away.
Well, Darius, how do you guys come back after a disappointing start like this?
It was disappointing, but I think we came into practice today and we just worked real hard. And you can tell, like, the switch. Of course, we've been working hard, like, the whole off season, but the demeanor was we were ready to go and keep rolling.
What did you learn in the game, or maybe saw in the game that's different from what had transpired during fall camp?
Honestly, it was just like little mistakes because the hard work was there. We were still grinding and pushing. And then I can't really tell you like what happened. I'm still like confused and shocked, but I just know with this group, we're just gonna keep pushing in with the heart and the demeanor of the team. It'll be real strong.
Hey, Phil, Darius, is there much, talk from the team of trying to get to the bottom of like why an error occurred, or are you guys in practice more, focused just on, again, going back to your fundamentals?
Well, honestly, yeah, I think we just like, you can't move on from that, but you got to get ready for the next week. And the next week is like the saying day by day, week by week, we got to be ready to roll. Can't really just stick in the ground. Like, can't just keep thinking about the last game.
This is your first opportunity to play at Nebraska in front of fans. What does that mean to you?
Oh, I'm real excited. I've seen like thousands of videos, and we got the best fan base in the nation. So I just be seeing the tunnel walk. I see when they run out, and I hear that chant, the band, and it's just, they said it's like a feeling that you won't be able to explain. Get chill bumps. I can't wait to feel it.
What do you hope to get out of a game like this? Obviously, FCS opponent, lesser scholarships. It kind of is what it is, but as a team, what can you get out of this game?
Of course, like make a statement and show that that last game doesn't define our season. It's a 12-game season. We could turn around just in a matter of games. And honestly, I forgot they were FCS. I just looked at it as another opponent. We just got to go out there. We got to earn our respect at the end of the day.
Well, there's you and Garrett and Caleb all made plays, especially early in that game. How'd you think the outside linebackers, the guys, played overall, and what's the next step for your group?
I feel like the outside linebackers as a whole, we did good, but of course we can do great. We can do better. Coach Dawson, he's going to push us every day, like push us to make sure we can be the best as we can. And Caleb and Garrett are great. They played great, and I'm excited to see how we progress throughout the year.
You have a sack total in mind? Did you set a goal for yourself going into this year?
Of course I want like 20, but we just gotta. I'm a day by day, game by game type of guy. So as much as I can get in the game, that's what I reach for.
You guys had some moments on defense. I guess when you look at that first game, how would you grade how you guys played, knowing the potential and having seen the practice leading up to it on your side of the ball?
Oh, I like the way we played, real aggressive, but as we can tell, we can get way better. And with Coach Chins and the coaching staff on the defense, we're going to get way better. So I'm real excited throughout the year, the progress we're going to make.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
had a pretty good fall camp, I would say, and it was something I was shooting for this off season, and I knew I never wanted to quit until I was there. So going into this game week, I had a pretty good feeling I would get the start. But I mean, with the group of receivers we got, it doesn't matter who's out there the first play. It matters. I mean, you want to be the guy in there the last play, and we got a pretty good rotation there, so I feel really good about that.
What would you say that you did well in camp during
Just being consistent every play, running full speed routes, blocking every play, and I made quite a few good plays, I'd say. So.
What was your review of just the offense as a whole? How you played when you got to watch it back?
On the game?
Yeah.
I feel like we never really established the run game early on, and that's a big part. And I figured, I mean, it was kind of surprising to me because I felt really good about our run game going into it. And I just felt like we kind of had some big plays out of Oliver and some other receivers. And I just feel like we stepped up in our passing game. But, again, there's some things we need to improve on, but it should be a lot better this week.
Understand the receiver would bring up the run game. What did you guys work on today, and what did you talk about after the game about why it didn't work?
As a receiver in the run game, we're a big part of that too. I mean, any play that breaks the line is going to be on us. So that's something where if it's man coverage, we got to run guys off, and I feel like we did a pretty good job at that. And there's just a lot of parts to us in the run game that we can take steps up into for this next game.
Wyatt, what can you guys get out of a week like this? You're playing an FCS opponent, lesser scholarships, kind of a lower opponent. What do you hope to gain in a game like this against Fordham?
It's just a good game for guys to get their feet back under themselves, and us as a team to make a statement, make some plays. I'd never heard of the team, so I'm sure they're going to come in here and give us their best effort. Any team that gets to come into the stadium and play us is going to give us their everything. So we got to show up and give them everything we got.
On the almost touchdown, you almost had in the second quarter. Is there anything you could have done differently, or is that just a ball just a little out of reach?
That's one I'd like to have back. I mean, us as receivers, we got to make our quarterback look good, and I feel like, I mean, I could have made that play, but again, it's a tough catch and a tough throw. But yeah, that's one I wish I could have had back.
What kind of message, what kind of vibe did you have from the offensive coaches today getting back out there?
Of course, there was things we needed to fix. We watched the tape early this morning, got those things behind us, and then move on to the next week. And there was a lot of intensity at practice. We had a great practice today, I'd say, and it was just a good turn-the-page moment today, I would say, all around.
Was it kind of a wake-up call, this game, just like you guys have a long ways to go, maybe?
Yeah, it was really surprising to me, but, I mean, it's certainly not the way you want to start your season, but it's gonna look even better when we get this thing turned around and we can look back on that. So.
You guys got called for an OPI in one of those big plays. Obviously, that's kind of a gray area in the officiating. How do you kind of balance getting in the way, but also trying to cross?
Yeah, that's a play we ran all week of practice really well, and it's just something that you gotta make it look like you're running a route, but in your mind you want to get a rub on that guy, so you got to get in his way and then continue to run your route. And it's something that we need to keep working on, and I think we can utilize it a lot more in our offense.
Oliver obviously had a big day statistically. You kind of saw that coming though, right?
Yeah, he's a good dude. I expect him to make a lot of plays like that all season. He can be a guy like that every game for us, and that really just him doing that is a reflection that a lot of us in the receiver room can do that too. So I expect a lot of guys to step up like that.
Do you expect that competition in your position group? I know camp ends and guys are slotted in certain spots, but do you expect that to remain pretty intense throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys in our room that can play, and that's something that you got to show up every week of practice and put in the work. The game's won Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the week before the game, and that's something we take a lot of pride on, is practicing hard during the week, and then that gives you a good start to the game.
Well, you've been a part of this team, obviously, after losses. Was today any different than maybe some of the losses in the past?
I saw a lot of fight out of the guys today. I mean, we cut the music off at practice, so we had to bring our own energy today. And there was a lot of guys hooping and hollering and picking guys up, and the attention to details was just really a focus today, and it felt really good.
How does that make you feel in terms of reassuring that maybe there's a lot of football left?
Yeah, of course, first game like that, there's a long season left, and there was a lot of guys that were picking each other up. I mean, the leader stepped up and assured that we had a good practice today, and that's big going into this next week.
No music at all, or did they cut it off at some point?
There's no music at all.
Whose idea was that?
I'm not sure.
There's-
Not sure.
Was that the first time you haven't done that in Nebraska since you've been?
Yeah, usually we're blaring music, you know, just to represent like the crowd noise and such, so more focus now.
Anything else for Wyatt? All right, thank you, Wyatt. Yeah.
I'll just start generally. What was, when you got to watch the game back, what was your review of the offensive performance, and I guess kind of how it played out to compared with what you expected going in?
Obviously, the result was disappointing. Overall as an offense, I think we did all right. We definitely could have been a lot better. There's a lot of ways in which, that we can improve from it. But like you said, it's just a matter of looking at the film and kind of dissecting your own position group. I was really more focused on the receivers. We made some plays, obviously, but there's definitely a lot of places that we can get better, too.
What does that look like? Like, what do you think how the receivers played overall, and then what's the next step for you?
I think, we played with a lot of effort. We were good for the most part with our assignments. I think it's just more of detailing certain things, spacing between receivers, little stuff like that.
How did you feel about getting involved in the run game in the way that you did? I mean, you're running the ball.
I felt pretty good about it. They were a man team, which it makes it a lot easier, to kind of get our defenders out of the way, run them off and then get back in front and block them. But, I felt like overall the receivers did good in the run game today.
Could you expand a little bit on what you meant by detailing? It was more about the detailing.
Yeah, like I said, it's just, like the little things. Like I said, overall, I think we were pretty sharp, especially for it being our first game. But when I say details, I mean like little things like the spacing between receivers and our routes, being in a certain spot in a certain time. When they start setting pressure, we might not be able to run our route how we have practiced it. We might have to speed it up a little bit. So it's just stuff like that.
Okay, thank you.
What's been your message, and what is it this week for some of the young receivers who didn't get on the field Saturday, like Xavier and Alonzo?
I'm just telling them to stay with it, stay with the program, and I think that's what they're gonna do. Obviously everyone wants to be on the field, but I was just telling them, stick with the process, keep going hard in practice, and they're gonna get their time. They're gonna get involved more for sure. I see big playmaking ability from those two guys, especially. They're fast guys. Xavier's more long speed. He can make plays down the field. Alonte's really quick. He's really twitchy. I definitely see them getting involved more as the season goes on.
Wyatt was up here earlier and said he was maybe a little surprised at how you guys scaled back on the run game, maybe from fall camp. Did you notice that too in the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we're gonna run what's working for us, and we try to get the run game going. We had some decent runs, but for the most part, we couldn't really get the run game going. So I don't see why we would, stick with it. If we're gonna run what works, we're gonna try to make plays down the field, and it's part of us. We got to make plays down the field, keep the DBs honest, and back them up to set that run game up. So. Yeah, I guess I was a little surprised, but I feel like we're gonna get our run game going here in the next couple games.
What gives you confidence in that?
Just what I see in and out every day in practice. Going throughout camp, we have a lot of good running backs. We have a lot of talent in that backfield, and they're just gonna keep. I know those guys. They're gonna keep going, and we're gonna stick with it. We got to be able to run the ball.
How do you think Adrian looked throwing it on Saturday?
I think Adrian looked good. He looked sharp. There was a couple plays downfield that he was putting the ball right where it's supposed to be. A lot of the time he had guys in his face. He was making really good throws, guys in his face. He was getting flushed out the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield. I think he did good.
You said in the spring you like the culture in this program and we're kind of surprised by losing seasons in the past. As a guy who's just here, what do you think about the fight in this team? What are you expecting from guys? What have you seen? How do you expect guys to respond?
I think we're gonna respond pretty good. I think we're gonna bounce back. I know all the guys in the locker room. They're not gonna give up after one game. It's a game we wanted, but at the end of the day, it's one game. It's a long season. And even from what I saw on the field today, it was a lot of energy. We're gonna bounce back. We're not gonna let the one game decide our fate.
Anything else?
A lot of talk after the game about how some mistakes that you guys made on Saturday were not what you were seeing in practice. Why do you think that disconnect existed? Why did those mistakes happen when you didn't see them on film?
I'm not sure. You know, we definitely shot ourselves in the foot, you know, multiple times, and that's frustrating because, you know, we feel like, especially in that first half, we gave them every point that they scored. You know, we feel like they didn't really earn it on us. It was just more us, you know, not being disciplined, and that's just something that we got to work on, I guess.
First game jitters, or think that could have played anything?
I can tell you possibly. I don't know.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Hey, Todd, what did you think about the pass rush, the way that you guys got after them? Pretty good in the first portions of the game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that was a big emphasis for us, at least for me, in our spring ball. I mean, you saw we got maybe 2-3 sacks in that first half. Then that second half, they kind of, after they switched quarterbacks, they kind of went to a quick 3-drop, quick passes. I mean, there's really not much you can do on that except get your hands up in the window, try to get a batted ball. But I'm really impressed. I'm really proud of what we did up front and with the pass rush.
How do the guys come back today after a tough game like Saturday?
You know, I mean, we just shook it off. We came back and had a pretty good, solid practice today. Corrected some things that we needed to correct, and I mean, moving forward, we're on to Fordham now.
Is the defense that you saw in fall camp the same defense that showed up in the first week?
Yes, for sure. Now we just have to be consistent with it. I mean, when we make adjustments, we got to be able to do it on the fly and kind of do our thing and stop them and get the offense the ball back. I mean, that's the purpose, right? So that first half, I mean, we came out pretty solid, and I feel like we know what it feels like now to play in a game with that kind of tempo, so we should see more of that.
You guys, as a defense, didn't have a lot to do with those 16 points that Illinois scored in the first half. I mean, there was the yards they gained after the roughing penalty. Otherwise, that happened on special teams and on the offensive side. How did you feel like the defense reacted to being in a hole when you played well in the first half?
I mean, it's going to happen, right? So, I mean, when you get in a hole, you just got to dig yourself back out. I mean, we do our own thing. I know when we bring our own juice, I mean, offense is going to mess up sometimes, just like how we're going to mess up a few times. So you just got to be able to bounce back and kind of just brush it off next play. So.
Was that bounce back? I mean, the second half start wasn't what you wanted. So was that a result of momentum going against you in the first half, or what did you see there?
You know, I don't really know. That first half, coming out that second half, I mean, they kind of just took us for a ride. You know, we weren't ready for it, and so we just got to be better with that coming out in the second half. Can't allow that to happen. We got to be able to get the offense the ball back.
Were they doing anything that confused you in that second half drive?
No.
How do you feel about playing at home in front of fans this week?
You know, I'm excited. It's great to have Memorial Stadium filled back up. I mean, we're playing against Fordham. I know the fans are still going to come out and show their support, so I'm really appreciative of that. It's a big thing. I mean, having that home advantage, I mean, it can be intimidating to some teams, so I'm really happy and excited.
Other questions for Todd? Okay.
How do you feel, Turner, coming in and playing almost a full game after missing a lot of camp?
Yeah, I felt pretty good. Body felt great. Felt really ready to attack the day with everything leading up to Saturday. You know, things didn't turn out the way we wanted it to. But, you know, from my perspective, my body felt pretty good.
What was Greg Austin's message to you guys in the wake of that game today, after the game? What did he say?
The message after the game is kind of just, you know, we gotta focus on ourselves more than our opponents sometimes. You know, there's a few mistakes that we made up front that, you know, we can't really live with going forward. Whether it's, you know, missing a blocking assignment, missing the point to the linebacker. There's a few things that everyone's got to focus up on. A lot of details that we want to be able to tune in on, especially when it comes to, you know, our blocking.
How frustrating was it for you personally in camp to be a little bit limited, and when did you know that you were going to be in position to be able to play in the opener?
Yeah, so going into camp, you know, I was extremely limited with what I could do, and then progressing through camp, they wanted to keep me limited just so I didn't re-injure what I had injured, and then we went forward with game week, getting more reps day by day, and then leading up into that game, they told me that, you know, Brant was going to get the start, and I was definitely okay with that because he'd been busting his ass off in practice throughout those last 4 weeks of fall camp, and that they were gonna move me in however they needed me to, and I was ready for it. So.
What kind of challenge is that for Brant to? I mean, he was playing probably mostly guard in the spring, and to step out there and get some experience in camp playing on the end.
I definitely think that it was a little bit of a change for Brant, obviously because he had been playing guard, like you said, in the spring. But you know, he was able to take the adjustment and play into it. You know, there's a lot of things that everyone's got to fix up on, including myself. So, moving forward here, we're just focused on ourselves moving forward.
What's an example when you talk about the details? Is there an example you can give?
For myself, it'd probably just be my eye discipline on pass blocking or run blocking, and then my hand placement is something that I really want to focus on moving forward.
Thank you.
Can you talk about not focusing on the opponent?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Like, in what ways could you have focused too much on the opponent in the opener?
More than less, not focusing on the opponent. More than less, just focusing on ourselves. What we need to get better at. More than less than what we need to plan forward going forward with. We had an amazing game plan going into that game. They didn't play the defense that we had prepared for it, and we just had too many mistakes up front. Where, like I said, eyes, hands just weren't in the right spot, which led to, you know, us missing a block, us missing whatever it was moving forward. So.
Like, for example, there was some talk after the game about Illinois showing a front that you hadn't prepared for as much. Is that did you guys think about that too much in the game when instead you should have been more like you said, focused on yourself, or how did that specific example play into what you're saying?
Not at all. Not at all. We were definitely prepared for a different front, but when that's the beauty of football. You know, some team can play a certain front and then they can completely flip the script on you and play a different front. You just got to adjust on the fly. You know, I thought we did a solid job of preparing for that certain front. It was just that the adjustment that we needed to make up front, the offensive line, we just needed to do better.
What do you hope to get out of this week playing a lesser team, Fordham, an FCS ranked team? What do you hope to get out of a week like this?
For me in the offensive line, personally, I think we just need to focus up on our responsibilities up front, how we can get better with detailing our work, like I keep saying. We take pride in our detail. Around here we say DEA, detail is explosive and anger. With our details, you know, like I said, eyes, hands, explosiveness, firing off the ball, coming off the ball hard, and then anger is finishing your blocks.
You guys talked a lot about being a downhill running team through fall camp. How much of that did or didn't translate to the game from what you guys had done?
Right. So moving into camp, you know, we had a great run scheme going. You know, we had a great game plan for Illinois, and you know, when during halftime we kind of had to go more with passing. You know, we were down by a score, and then when they started off with the ball and they chewed off 8 minutes of the clock, we kind of had to air the ball out a little bit more and focus on that aspect of the game rather than, you know, like the hat says, run the damn ball. You can't really run the damn ball when you got to play a little bit of catch up. So from that aspect, you know, we just want to be able to do good with the run game early on and be able to establish that part of our game so then we can, if we need to, air it out.
How excited or ready are you guys as a line to show what you could do in that regard in terms of running the ball?
We were really excited for it. And, you know, when they came out with a different front, we weren't really I wouldn't say we weren't caught off guard, but you know, we just didn't react the way we should have.
Anything else? All right, thank you, George.
Thank you.
you went back and watched the film, like, where'd your mind go first? What stood out the most to you?
Yeah, well, I would say my initial thoughts right after the game were pretty similar to what I saw once I went back and watched the film. Little mistakes that we need to clean up as an entire team, as a unit, and as an individual.
Where would you say you were most disappointed from what you guys did in fall camp didn't translate?
I would say coming out strong and establishing that run game and being more consistent. Just as a unit, I could speak for the offense. Coach Frost preaches about special teams, about the turnover battle, and about the line of scrimmage and being physical. And we need to be more consistent in all those areas. All of us do. So.
What can you guys get out of a game like this week, playing an FCS school like Fordham?
Yeah, well, we're approaching it as like any other game week. We need to get better, and we're taking it each day at a time. Had a really good practice today, I'd say, and going to go out there and play our hardest, not treat it any different.
How would you evaluate the way you played passing the ball now that you've had some time to really look at it?
There's some moments where I thought I made some good decisions, and then there were some other moments where I needed to stand and deliver, and I didn't make the throw. Inaccurate on a couple passes, and I'm look back at it and going to improve. Simple as that. I owe the guys better and the coaches better, and I'm going to do that this next week.
They really seemed to make a concerted effort to keep you in pocket. Were there a couple times where, that's a fine line, but where you thought maybe you could have made a throw as pressure was getting to you, or just before you decided to run?
Are you talking about times I decided to take off?
Yeah, like that fine line between making a throw at the last second before you.
Yeah, there definitely is a fine line there, and you run the risk of moving up through the pocket and guys swiping at you while you're trying to make something happen. Usually it's, all right, make a decision, roll with it, and it's a general feel thing, I would say.
Wyatt was saying the first time since he's been here that there hasn't been music in practice. Did you notice that today, and did you think it was necessary?
Yeah, I noticed it. I really didn't put too much stock into it. Have a lot of other things need to worry about, need to improve on. So music, no music, we're out there to get better.
What about you as a leader and the other guys being leaders? Wyatt talked about how important it was for you guys to, as leaders, pick up the guys, bring in energy, and making sure that one game is done.
100%. They're very important, and it's our responsibility. And the guys definitely stepped to the plate today, and we brought the energy. And despite sore bodies, whatever, that week one loss is done with. We still have the entire season ahead of us and everything that we want to accomplish ahead of us. So we have to treat it as such and approach today, which I believe we did, with that in mind.
Yeah, Oliver Martin didn't really start practicing until like September, October of last year, but he seems to have earned your trust pretty quickly. What do you like about his game and the way he's developed?
Yeah, I do really trust Oliver. He's a guy who will go up and get it. He proved that Saturday, and he's really fast. He can make plays, he knows where he's supposed to be. I think he's a stud, and excited for what else he could do for us this year.
You guys didn't put up big numbers rushing in the first half, but you have a pretty good feel for how things are going as the game's going on. Did you feel like you were making some inroads that, had the game situation been different, could have paid off later in the game? Or I guess, what did you make of the production, in the run game in the first half?
Yeah. I would say our coach touched on it a little bit. I know I did as well, in that they showed up in a little bit of a different defense than what we were expecting. I do believe we were paving the way, but the game sort of changed, and you have to adapt what you're calling, and that's not the way we would like to play.
How does that, when they show up in a different defense, how did that affect you?
Personally, my job is to know what I need to do against any front, any defense, whatever, and I knew sort of going into it that I needed to be light on my feet depending on what they showed up in. But it can be a lot, and really that changes a game plan. And for me, my reads will change, but I wouldn't say it's an excuse for a poor decision.
How did having Verduzco on the field differ from him in the box?
Yeah, I love Verduzco on the field. I loved him on the field, and I loved him in the box too. But he brings a certain presence, and I love being able to go to the sideline and talk to him. He really did a good job of making sure the QB unit was around some of the other positions as well, and excited for what's to come in that area.
What was maybe he able to communicate to you in a moment, whether it was emotionally or teaching, that's harder to do from the box?
I would say the emotional piece is harder to do from the box. And it's a lot easier to sort of connect on that level on the field and maybe see some things that you wouldn't see up in the box.
Was that your request?
What's that?
Did he move down there? I mean, did you ask him to do that?
I don't really want to go into that.
Adrian, what would be your message to the fan? A lot of fans hit the panic button after a game like Saturday. Just thinking about the rest of the year, what would be your message to fans right now?
Yeah. Look, we're here to play some football, here to enjoy it, here to have fun, and our guys are going to do that. And we're getting better, and we're giving it everything we have. Everything we have. There's a lot of investment here on this end, and we are going to get things right. So stick with us. We're going to play our tails off every week, and I sincerely hope you enjoy watching that.
Anything else for Adrian?
Thanks, Adrian.
Adrian, what's it going to be like to play the fans coming back? And obviously it's going to be a different vibe because Coach Frost talked about even at Media Day saying it was almost a deterrent last year because you guys were looking for that energy. You didn't have it. But how cool is that going to be this Saturday?
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. Really excited to see Memorial Stadium in full force. The spring game was, 40% capacity. Excited for that. Excited for some of our young guys, some of the guys who their first year was last year. They don't truly know what it's like when you're waking up in the morning, you look out the window, you see red everywhere, and you hop on the bus. There's people outside your hotel ready to go. You're making your way to the stadium, and people are flooding the streets. It's an amazing environment, and part of what makes this place so special. So very excited for that.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Scott, when you went back and watched the film, did it change your opinion much, or was it pretty much what you thought after the game on Saturday?
Yeah, pretty much what we thought. I thought the effort was outstanding. You can't find anybody loafing. The guys played really hard. We got to do a few things better, and then we had just a few kind of catastrophic plays that changed the whole game.
The sacks that Illinois produced, did you see sort of a combination of things? Did you like how quickly Adrian was getting the ball out, or how do you kind of size that up?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a lot of things. I didn't think we protected well enough. That's one of the things that we were drilled down on today and talked to the guys about. And they did a good job. I give it to them. There were some twists in games that are tough to pick up that we didn't. But in general, we got to have more time for our quarterback to throw.
I know it was a first game for Kearney, so you factor that in. Maybe he didn't punt as well as he wanted to. Have you seen some good stuff, though, how do you feel about your kicking operation?
Both punters have been doing exceptionally well in practice. His first effort, I expected to get a lot better. Probably some nerves and things there, but there's a lot of hidden yardage. They got a couple punts and pinned us, and we had chances to do it and didn't. We put a lot of emphasis on special teams. Thought the coverage units did a really good job. Made the one critical error on punt return and did what we weren't trained to do and coached to do, and got to punt a little better, and then obviously missed 2 extra points. Those are some of the mistakes we can't have happen.
When you look at the offensive line, when you look at the game versus what you saw in camp, square up, or what's the deal there?
Yeah, I give them credit. We watched a lot of tape on them, tried to give our best guess to what they were going to do. They played an entire spring game in odd and came out and played an even with wide 9s and 5s, and we just hadn't had as many reps at that. So that had a little bit to do with it. But hey, we got to be better. We got to establish run. We got to be ahead in the game so we can commit to the run. When you get behind in a game, then you're forced to do a few more things, and there are a lot of factors that led to that.
How rare is it for a defense to come out with those guys trying to get around your tackles the way they were?
Not rare, just not. We weren't expecting it. A lot of people play, wide 5s, wide 9s. We had prepared some for that look. We had prepared for the contingency that they might do that, but certainly not what we were expecting.
Hey, Scott, is there anything that Caleb could have done differently? I mean, look, we didn't get a definitive view on the telecast per se. Did you see anything on film?
Yeah, all I saw during the game was the bang bang play of him hitting the quarterback right as he was throwing it. He's got to be smart and not bury him into the turf. I assume that's what they called. That play right there was probably the biggest play in the game. Caleb's been playing wonderful all fall. I thought his level of play in that game was good, but there's critical moments where you got to make a snap decision and a smart decision and a decision that's best for your team. There was a few times in that game that we didn't, and those mistakes really cost us.
You mentioned the game script being part of you guys can commit to the run. How much does that play into pass protection? When they know you're going to throw the ball, that makes it a little bit tougher for them to protect, right?
Yeah, certainly. Their backup quarterback came in and did a tremendous job, but that's the situation you want for a guy like that to come in up 7 or up 14, be able to run the ball and throw when you need to, and then that's a little different situation than being behind and throwing. We had every opportunity to be in command of the game at halftime and made some critical errors that turned it into a deficit at halftime, and that changed the style of play for both teams.
Was Lubick calling the plays on Saturday, or was it you?
No, I was calling the plays.
Was there a moment where you reconsidered that? Like, because you had kind of talked about Matt kind of doing it, and then Saturday.
No, I haven't talked about Matt and I doing it. We collaborate. The whole staff collaborates, and it was just an interesting game because about half of our game plan was kind of out the window when they came up and lined up the way they did. So we really had to scramble and go to alternative plan and tried to adjust and did some good things, but not enough of them.
Did that impact not getting some younger guys, some younger skill guys into the game that you had wanted to, the fact that you had to throw out part of your game plan?
Not really. I want our team to understand, and I think they do, that if they're going to play a lot of snaps or as many reps as they want to, they need to practice well all week and show us that they're prepared. There are certain guys I think we planned on playing more, and I wish would have played more, and some others that need to step it up and practice well during the week to earn the playing time.
How often does that happen in the course of your career where half the game plan was out?
Not very often. Not very often, and I told you we kind of turned our attention to these guys a little earlier than normal to really get dialed in on a game plan. Now we took a day in the middle of that and practiced for contingencies and other things they might do, and so the guys knew what they were doing and were prepared, but certainly some of the schematic things that we had planned for them weren't there because of what we got.
You started Gabe Urban at running back. How close has that competition been? And I think he was the first true freshman in the modern era Husker football to start. Just sort of that achievement for him.
Yeah, he's come in and done a great job being a veteran, acting like a veteran. He and Step had the best week and a half of preparation leading into the game, and they deserve to play. Ramir Johnson's done a really good job. When we got into kind of 2-minute and throwing mode, we wanted somebody in there that was a little bit of threat in the pass game, and every week at certain positions there's going to be competition, and guys that practice the best are going to get more time.
I know you don't like to get into injuries too much, but Casey Rogers and Vokalek are obviously two key guys. Do you feel like they're close? Or?
Yeah, they're getting close. They're getting close.
Hey, Scott, what do you hope to get out of a game like this playing Fordham, just after last week especially?
Well, we just got to play well. In a lot of ways, we did play well. I said it after the game, but I really like this team. Our team has a chance to win a lot of games if we play well. The self-inflicted wounds can't happen. Every time we get a chance to get on the field and execute at a higher level and get a little better, it's going to make us a better team down the stretch.
Scott, is there a different feeling heading into this home opener, maybe to past, especially just because it's been so long that you played in front of a packed Memorial Stadium?
Yeah, there's a different feeling for me. We missed the fans so bad. Being in Memorial Stadium last year with an empty house, it was almost depressing. And there's so much passion here, so many good fans. We can't wait to see them on Saturday.
What kind of atmosphere do you anticipate?
I've been to a lot of Husker games over my years in my life, and don't expect it to be any different.
What did Wyatt and Oliver in particular do to kind of earn this playing time? A year ago now, they didn't play a lot. I mean, Oliver couldn't even practice, but a year later, they're really two of your top 4 or 5 receivers. What did you see from them in camp that proved to you, maybe over some people that other people might say are more talented, that these are the guys you want to do?
We have multiple receivers that I think can go in and function and play and make plays, and quite a few made plays on Saturday. I think we need to rotate them even more. Toward the end of the game, we could have kept some fresh guys on the field because we have a lot of guys ready to play. Those 2 guys have been extremely consistent, haven't missed any time. So as those guys are all competing, I think it was just consistency that put them a little bit ahead.
How much of a role does a quarterback trusting receivers? When you were a quarterback, I'm sure there were guys in your career where you're like, I trust that guy, I trust him. How much does Adrian's trust in them factor into a receiver's playing time?
Well, you got to earn trust in anything you do. I think there's a lot of guys Adrian trusts right now. Some have been at every practice, and some have missed a little time, and certainly consistency helps. But we got enough guys out there to keep fresh guys on the field, and everybody's got to know what they're doing, and we should be able to have some receivers with juice out there all the time.
Good. Xavier Betts played a few snaps special teams wise. Was he one of the guys that you would have maybe liked to have gotten it, worked into the rotation?
Yeah, I think the plan for Xavier was to play a little more, and I expect his reps will go up as we go on here.
What held back his reps going into this game?
Xavier's a super talented kid. He's been improving every day since he's been here. Like I said, consistency has to matter to some degree, him and everybody else. You got to do it all week and give teammates and coaches and everyone else confidence that you're going to be in the right place and do the right thing all the time.
Last we heard, Saturday isn't sold out yet. Do you have any thoughts on the sellout streak and its importance, or maybe a message to fans who have lost some excitement after Saturday?
Well, I hope nobody lost excitement after Saturday. This team has a chance to be really good. I think this team's going to prove a lot to a lot of people. You know, if there's still some tickets out there, buy them up and come watch this team. There's a special group of kids with a lot of character, a lot of talent. We can't wait to play in front of the fans, so we need you there.
Adrian said there was a couple throws, obviously, like halfback, quarterback probably thinks that all the time. Is there a common thread, the one to Hickman and the one to Lieber in the end zone were both going the same way? Is that tough for a quarterback in his progression to come all the way back to that side?
No, I don't think so. When you watch the tape, there are some unbelievable throws Adrian made, sometimes with too much pressure standing right on top of him. So we got to make sure he's cleaner to make the throws that we've been seeing him make all spring, all fall. He missed two, but when we get layups, we can't miss them.
How would you grade out the offensive line?
I'd let Coach Austin answer that. I've watched the tape 5 times, but I certainly didn't go play-by-play and grade it.
What advantage do you think Verduzco being on the field gave you on Saturday? Adrian liked it, but.
Yeah, I think just better communication, having him down there. Also, some of the things we're doing, having Coach Held in the box, gives us some eyes that see things a little differently, and we decided to go that route this year, and that part worked pretty well.
Oliver going to be the punt returner from here on, based on what happened?
No, you know, Cam Taylor is one of our best players. I love him like a son. He's a black shirt. He's a captain. You can't try to make a play when you've been trained to do something else, and he'll learn from it.
Anything else, Coach?
Thanks, Scott.
Yep.